Flood broadcast across America, Thursday at 6:30.
Big Blue wields a big axe. IBM cuts thousands of jobs, fueling more anxiety about the U.S. economy.
On Capitol Hill, Midwest governors plead for federal flood relief. Back home, the waters keep rising.
And fighting a fire in 69, fighting for life in 93. Tonight, Eye on America investigates why.
This is the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather and Connie Chung.
Good evening. The latest news about business, jobs, and the economy tonight is not exactly terrific. A new government report says worker paychecks are failing to keep up with inflation. Consumer confidence in the economy is down for the third straight month. And the president's economic package, which he says will create thousands of jobs, is mired in a swamp of congressional opposition. Meantime, thousands more Americans stand to lose their jobs. Case in point today, computer giant IBM. Money correspondent Ray Brady reports on Big Blue's big layoff.
They called it number one, the best, Big Blue, IBM. But today, the computer giant announced second quarter losses of $8 billion. And it's cutting another 35,000 workers. The only way, says new chairman Louis Gerstner, to get IBM out of its long losing streak.
We've got to try to get behind us this Chinese water torture we've been going through quarter after quarter, year after year in the company.
It's been torture for IBM's workforce. This year alone, 50,000 are out in a company where working was a family affair.
Your father worked at IBM, you worked at IBM, your wife worked at IBM.
Until he was out, Paul Nichols felt sorry for workers laid off at other companies.
Geez, you know, their lives are destroyed, and I just thank God that I worked for IBM. You know, that IBM didn't do that kind of thing.
Actually, IBM hurt itself. It kept making big computers when even workers knew that customers wanted small, personal computers.
Nobody listened to us. We were the peons of the company.
Here at IBM's East Fishkill, New York operation, half the plant, 4,000 workers, already have been cut. But, say experts, IBM isn't done yet. There'll be more cuts coming, they predict, at plants around the country.
If our assumptions are wrong and the industry outlook becomes more pessimistic, then we will take whatever additional action is necessary to make the company profitable.
A tough job, because IBM must turn itself around at a time when so much of the computer industry is in trouble. Ray Brady, CBS News, New York.
Unfortunately, it's not just the computer industry, and that's one reason President Clinton is citing tonight for refusing to back off and rewrite his economic package. White House correspondent Susan Spencer has that part of the job story.
For President Clinton, bad news on the jobs front turns up the pressure to fix things. Today, he again pressed Congress to start the fix by passing the economic plan.
Without it, I think you really have total uncertainty, you have chaos, you have interest rates going back up again, and you have a government that can't get anything done.
New numbers out today show people are impatient for something to get done. Consumer confidence dropped in July for the third month in a row.
When day after day you hear about new companies downsizing, eliminating 10,000 jobs here, 8,000 there, it starts to add up to a pretty dreary job picture in the consumer's mind.
The White House claims the problem is that people still don't understand how Mr. Clinton's plan would help.
If we get some control over that debt, interest rates stay down, and the private sector has the resources it needs to invest in job creation.
But despite vague promises of some 8 million new jobs, the plan ran into new trouble today on Capitol Hill. One former supporter now saying he wants to start all over.
It is not enough to rearrange the furniture or paint the rooms when the foundation of our economic house is crumbling.
With major votes this week, the arm twisting has begun.
These are my friends.
But his friends, moderate House Democrats, still want big changes, especially in taxes.
We believe that we should have no increases on the working men and women of this country, including the self-employed.
Final votes are days away, but Mr. Clinton is clearly ready to blame the country's economic woes on everybody's favorite whipping boy, a gridlocked Congress, if in the end it doesn't get with the program. Susan Spencer, CBS News, the White House.
Billions of dollars and thousands of jobs are still going down the drain in the Midwest floods. Midwest governors begged Congress today to stop stalling and start voting on a major relief package. Chief Washington correspondent Bob Schieffer reports.
The floods left Washington inundated in Midwestern governors. In and out of doors, they told anyone who would listen just how bad it really is.
I'm Governor Branstad from Iowa, and this is the worst natural disaster in our state's history.
Right now is the time for congressional and administration action.
At the White House, they found an ally.
I want to welcome the governors from the states afflicted by the floods to Washington, and I'm very encouraged by the work they've been doing here today.
And work they did, lobbying the powerful of both parties to put aside partisanship and give them some help. Lobbying for disaster relief would have been unnecessary in years past. But hey, this is the Washington of modern gridlock. So as the governors pleaded, members of Congress spent most of the day blaming each other for doing nothing.
Shame on Congress, Mr. Speaker.
And arguing over whether to borrow the money for flood relief or take it from other programs.
But the other disaster is the budget deficit that this country faces and the growth of the national debt.
It's no excuse to say we've done this before. When you're $4 trillion in debt, it's time to do something different.
Many from the flood states said this was not the time for such an argument.
But not today. Not when people are out of their houses, not when people are unemployed, not when people are fighting day and night, putting up sandbags to save their lives.
But after a week of posturing, the House tonight finally passed $3 billion in emergency aid, and the vote was lopsided 400 to 27. With the Senate expected to go along, the first wave of relief will soon be on the way. Bob Schieffer, CBS News at the Capitol.
Now an update on the devastating Midwest flooding picture. From top to bottom. For starters, some good news. Kansas City, Missouri is catching a big break from the weather tonight. The rain stayed away, just as two mighty rivers were cresting there, the Missouri and the Kansas. Both are well over flood stage, but without any new rain, the levees so far are handling the water. The danger, though, is not over, and no one's taking chances. Residents of Kansas City spent the day stacking sandbags around their homes and businesses. Elsewhere in the swamped Midwest, the Mississippi finally fell below flood stage at Dubuque, Iowa, for the first time in a month. But it is still spilling over its banks tonight all the way down to Chester, Illinois. The big river is closed to barge traffic from Dubuque to Cairo, Illinois. In 6 weeks of flooding, well over 700 levees have failed. Floodwaters from the Mississippi and its tributaries have swallowed up 16,000 square miles of farmland throughout the Midwest and forced tens of thousands of people out of their homes. President Clinton has declared parts of 9 states disaster areas, making them eligible for federal aid. And many residents of Des Moines, Iowa and St. Joseph, Missouri still have no drinkable tap water. The National Weather Service says much of the Midwest flood area is in for some relief from the rain. The prediction is for a drier weather pattern at least for the next few days.
Still ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News, more fighting between Israeli and Arab forces in Lebanon. What will this do to the Middle East peace talks?
And Eye on America. Tonight, the fire's out, but the pain is still burning.
The medical facts are clear. Tylenol is so gentle on your stomach, doctors even recommend it to their ulcer patients for everyday aches and pains. They know Tylenol can't aggravate an ulcer the same way aspirin can. That's important for all of us to know. And so is this. Hospitals use Tylenol 23 times more than all aspirin brands combined. Tylenol, the pain reliever hospitals use most.
Oh, we dreamed about a vacation in Hawaii for 12 years. Then we get there, and disaster strikes. We're all stuck in our room with diarrhea. So I bought Imodium AD. I heard it worked better.
Original prescription strength Imodium AD stops diarrhea, often with one dose, instead of dose after dose of the pink stuff.
With just one dose, our diarrhea was gone, and so were we, out having the time of our lives.
Imodium AD, the original prescription for one-dose relief.
Day 3 of heavy fighting in southern Lebanon, and President Clinton is calling on Secretary of State Christopher to come home early from Asia to talk about the future of Middle East peace talks. Mr. Clinton took pains to praise what he called commendable restraint by Syria, which controls part of the territory where Israeli soldiers and Hezbollah guerrillas are fighting. Correspondent Bob Simon has the latest.
Villages became ghost towns. Roads became rivers of refugees as Israel brought a third day of hell to a war zone called Lebanon. Israeli guns unleashed 5,000 shells today alone at more than 50 villages. The UN says more than 120,000 people are fleeing northwards towards Beirut. In fact, just about the only people left in these targets of Israeli wrath are the guerrillas the guns are trying to eliminate. Hezbollah fighters sent more rockets streaming towards northern Israel today. Some of them found their mark. Prime Minister Rabin toured Kiryat Shmona, the worst-hit town, this afternoon. He encountered some hostility from residents who thought the offensive was too little, too late. He explained the strategy of the operation, an updated version of tit for tat.
If there will be no security and tranquility here, there will be no security and tranquility in Lebanon.
There's no great enthusiasm for this operation in Israeli political and military circles. Officers and officials say they don't know when it will end, whether or not it will succeed, or even what success would mean. The problem, they say, is that they had to do something, and no one had a better idea. They couldn't invade and occupy Lebanon again the way they did 11 years ago. The memories of that disaster are too fresh. They couldn't do nothing. That would have meant abandoning Israel's northern settlements. Like the Americans during the Gulf War, the Israelis showed off nose cone tapes again today, illustrating the accuracy of their airstrikes. As in the Gulf War, as with the Americans, all those direct hits haven't stopped the missiles. Bob Simon, CBS News, Southern Lebanon.
When the Soviet Union broke up, Ukraine was left with a huge nuclear arsenal, including long-range missiles believed to be aimed at the United States. Today, Defense Secretary Les Aspin met with his Ukrainian counterpart. Afterwards, Pentagon officials said Ukraine has begun dismantling its nuclear weapons, and the U.S. will provide $175 million to help.
In Geneva, Switzerland, Bosnia's warring factions have arrived for peace talks on how to carve up the republic into 3 ethnic states. In face-to-face meetings, Bosnia's Muslim rulers are fighting the plan, which is backed by the Serbs and Croats. But with Serbian forces now closing in on Sarajevo, the Muslims have little leverage. Serbian artillery today pounded strategic mountains on the city's western outskirts. On the eve of official Independence Day celebrations in Peru, a big car bomb exploded today outside the U.S. Embassy in Lima. No Americans were hurt, but a passing taxi driver was killed. 3 other people were injured. Peruvian police are blaming what's called the Shining Path terrorist organization.
Stay with us for much more CBS Evening News, including small-town America, fighting back against heroin dealers and a new kind of customer.
It may surprise you to learn who, over 30 years ago, was the first car maker to build cars with seat belts, to make safety glass standard, the first U.S. car maker to offer anti-lock brakes, and who today offers more models with dual airbags than any other manufacturer. That company is Ford Motor Company.
We're committed to making safety innovation an important part of quality.
Ford Motor Company. Quality is job one. It's working.
Why Centrum Silver? Because you're over 50 and you're just hitting your stride. Centrum Silver vitamins. Because the latest scientific research about changing nutritional needs after 50 is built in. Centrum Silver. It's a great time to be silver.
When what you eat and drink gives your stomach a surprise, you want a medicine that works directly on your stomach. Pepto-Bismol. As it coats, Pepto delivers powerful medicine right where you hurt. Pepto-Bismol.
I feel very confident when Pedigree comes out with a new dog food that it's going to be well tested and well thought out.
Pam Lefevre, top breeder of champion English setters, talks about new Pedigree mealtime with rice and vegetables.
When you look at the dog food, you see the meaty kibbles plus the rice and the peas and carrots. I think that the mealtime with rice and vegetables is a really balanced dog food, and I mix it with Pedigree canned meat. My dogs love this combination. When it comes to nutrition, nothing beats Pedigree.
Pedigree, developed with vets, recommended by top breeders.
They came to Los Angeles for a piece of the California dream. But has it become a paradise lost? An all-new 48 Hours Wednesday.
Vietnam veterans exposed to the chemical defoliant Agent Orange will be getting expanded compensation from the U.S. government. Health experts today added 2 more diseases to the list, now definitely linked to wartime exposure. 5 diseases now in all, including 3 types of cancer.
Drug thugs and drug users have a new favorite and drug agents a new enemy. The DEA says because of a glut of available opium and because cocaine use is down in some quarters, traffickers are now pushing high-potency heroin of deadly purity. And some of the best customers are white and live in affluent, middle-income neighborhoods. Giselle Fernandez reports.
The small mill town of Lowell, Massachusetts, a place you wouldn't expect heroin arrests to be soaring, but they are. So are heroin overdoses.
We are in a situation where heroin is a very, very serious threat nationally.
Drug experts say an alarming number of deaths, arrests, and seizures in America's small towns and cities indicates a frightening shift in trafficking patterns. Smugglers, they say, are bypassing big city distribution points like New York and taking their products straight to the user.
It's cheaper. It's a lot more potent now. And it's easier to get.
It's not just in the inner cities. Heroin use is just as pervasive in the middle-class suburbs of New England as it is in suburbs across the nation. It's here, experts say, that heroin is fast becoming the new and lethal drug of choice.
One reason, say experts, is the heroin reaching suburban streets is as high as 90% pure, so potent you can snort it or smoke it. Eliminating the needle, they say, has made it as socially acceptable as cocaine.
You first started using heroin when you were 15 years old?
Mm-hmm. Basically what I was doing was trying to fit in with the crowd and experimenting and using what everyone else was using.
Doug, now 30, has been in treatment for 13 months.
Would you say that you are an exception to the rule, or are there many people like you using heroin?
I would say it's a lot less of an exception than people think.
Most people applying for continued treatment who are heroin addicts here are white middle class.
Drug enforcement agents say they're trying to stop the invasion of heroin before it becomes an epidemic. It better be quick. Overcrowded treatment centers are already turning addicts away. Giselle Fernandez, CBS News, Hartford, Connecticut.
Straight ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News, illegal immigrants, America's borders, and how President Clinton is trying to stem the tide.
I'll get the cereal, honey. Morning. You'll love this cereal. Where'd you come from? A different time when grains were kept whole for the natural hearty taste. Great grains, toasted wheat, oats, and barley, kept whole. Full of flavor. Pecan, dates, raisins. Enjoy it with the missus. Thanks.
Great. Where'd you get this?
Mind if I tell her?
What was great back then is great grains now. A great cereal from Post.
I used to take aspirin to relieve minor arthritis pain until my doctor told me 1 Advil is as effective as 2 regular aspirin and is gentler to my stomach. For my pain, I prefer Advil. Advil, advanced medicine for pain.
Efferdent users, what would get you to switch to new Denture Cream?
If it got my dentures cleaner.
Denture Cream cleans twice as clean as Efferdent.
If it got them fresher.
Now Denture Cream is even mintier.
Cleaner.
Fresher.
Better. Switch to new Denture Cream.
A woman is different than a man. Her system is 3 times as likely to become irregular, and harsh laxatives can upset her. Correctol is the gentle laxative made especially for women. Its special formula combines a mild laxative with a softener, so it works gently, predictably, overnight.
No wonder more women trust their systems to it.
Correctol, the woman's gentle laxative. You can trust it. Now also in new easy-to-swallow caplets.
You paid for your eye exam. Now why can't you have your prescription to buy your own contacts? Then Dan Aykroyd, King of the Coneheads, tomorrow on CBS This Morning with Harry Smith and Paula Zahn.
White House officials publicly acknowledged it for the first time today. President Clinton did place a telephone call to his deputy White House counsel, Vincent Foster, the day before Foster's body was found in mysterious circumstances, what's officially listed as an apparent suicide. According to the president's spokeswoman, they talked for 20 minutes the day before. She says Mr. Clinton did not know Foster was depressed or despondent, but did know Foster was, quote, having a rough time.
Today, President Clinton came out officially with a proposal to overhaul federal immigration procedures. The goal? To stop the flood of illegal immigrants, including would-be terrorists. Law correspondent Rita Braver broke the story of the Clinton plan last night and has this follow-up report.
With thousands of illegal immigrants arriving by sea and land, and with the World Trade Center and United Nations bombing plots tied to an alleged terrorist who slipped through U.S. immigration, the Clinton administration today announced a crackdown.
We cannot tolerate those who traffic in human cargo, nor can we allow our people to be endangered by those who would enter our country to terrorize Americans.
The plan calls for harsh criminal penalties against smugglers who bring in illegal aliens, about 600 new border guards, an upgraded computer system for tracking known terrorists or other criminals, and most controversial, a speeded-up system for handling illegal immigrants seeking political asylum. They'll get an immediate interview with a Justice Department officer who'll determine if they have a credible fear of persecution. If they lose, they'll stay in detention and get one and only one more hearing. It will take a few days instead of years. Immigration advocates immediately attack the plan.
President Clinton will have the dubious distinction of making us a country that gives more due process to people who are contesting a parking ticket than it does to people who are fleeing rape in Bosnia or biological warfare in Iraq.
And even the president was uncomfortable trying to explain who will get to stay.
That's a very good question. I'm so glad you asked it.
Congress must pass this package. It will cost $172.5 million, but it's considered only a modest first step in controlling this country's illegal immigrant crisis. Rita Braver, CBS News, Washington.
Only good, healthy things grow in Mrs. Dash's garden, where Mrs. Dash has created a salt-free blend of 14 herbs and spices that give food a livelier, zestier flavor. Mrs. Dash, a garden of flavors in 6 varieties instead of salt.
She finished school and moved back home. Will you be close now that she's all grown? Coffee starting to brew, wishing up ahead of you. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
Folgers is mountain-grown coffee with the remarkable aroma of mountain-grown beans. An aroma that, well, opens your eyes.
Now you're feeling a different way. It's the start of a brand new day.
You're pretty good at this.
Yes, I do take after you.
I never thought I'd hear you say that.
The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
I usually buy a Post Raisin Bran. They say it's premium. Total Raisin Bran? Never heard of it before. The raisins are big. Tastes good. Wow, look at this. Total Raisin Bran's got 100% of all these vitamins and minerals. Post Raisin Bran doesn't. Not even close. This is the primo stuff.
Total Raisin Bran. The Raisin Bran with the total difference.
All those vitamins and minerals and it tastes good. Can I keep this?
Every second of an asthma attack can feel like an eternity. That's why there's Primatene Mist. Primatene opens clogged breathing tubes fast when speed counts. Primatene Mist, fastest type asthma relief without a prescription.
Why is Tux medicated pads the brand of hemorrhoid relief hospitals trust most? Because when hemorrhoids flare up, Tux provides soothing, cooling relief on contact. Tux, the brand hospitals trust most.
Back in 1969, fire broke out in a factory in Florida. Firefighters moved in, put out the flames, and thought their battle was over. For many of them, however, it was just beginning. Correspondent Reed Galen investigates for tonight's Eye on America.
Got a lot of people praying for you. No, you're the greatest. I'm just glad you prayed.
It's obvious at his retirement party that Herbie Blaben is not just another guy.
I love you guys.
The feelings of his fellow firefighters, usually so tough and reserved, flood the room like a broken water main.
I love you a lot.
Richard Herbie Blaben would appear to have everything a man could hope for at 50, everything except his health.
Right now, I'd rather be kicking a door and going in fighting a fire than laying here.
Herbie Blaben has cancer. His doctors can't tell him why, but Blaben himself has no doubt where his illness and the cancer of at least 29 other Fort Lauderdale firefighters came from. The great Everglades fertilizer factory blaze of 1969. For 3 days, smoke from burning chemicals darkened the sky, but little was known then about such toxic hazards. Firefighters didn't even have the effective safety breathing apparatus they always wear now.
They were macho, and they call themselves leather lungs.
Lori Sims' father was the first of 19 firefighters who have died from cancer. The only thing all 30 cases have in common is the Everglades fire.
You've visited a lot of hospital rooms probably in the last few years.
Oh, yeah. A lot.
Now you find yourself in one.
Shoes on another foot now.
He's around the same age as the other firefighters who've gotten cancer at a rate more than 5 times the national average. 1/3 of those at the Everglades fire have gotten sick. And the rest?
I retired early just so I could get some decent years out of my retirement. But, I'm thinking all the time that any day I'm going to drop dead.
This has never been a job for wimps, but when Herbie Blabin was a young firefighter, danger was something that could be seen, something of the moment, not something that could creep up on you 2 decades later. Much has been learned since 1969 about the hazards firefighters routinely confront.
We've come to realize that it's not a macho thing to not wash our gear because it contains all the contaminants and carcinogens and everything that we're exposed to in a fire. You would look at a set of really dirty black gear and see, here's a firefighter that's been around.
You just feel like, well, the good Lord's looking out for me. He's not going to let anything happen to me because I'm doing something good.
Herbie Blabin wasn't ready to retire. His home is full of proud mementos from 27 years of public service. Herbie was the one you wanted next to you in a pinch, the firehouse jokester, the veteran who took the rookies under his wing.
I'm proud of him. Very proud of him. Hasn't been easy, like you said. There would be weddings and graduations and all, so me and the kids would go along, but, that's part of being a firefighter's life.
Now the Blabins want help from the city. Even with some insurance, medical bills have eaten up their retirement savings. He's filed a workers' comp claim, the first Fort Lauderdale firefighter to insist the cancer is work-related.
He won't tell you, but I will. He's the most decorated firefighter the city's ever had.
There were more than a dozen chemicals now known to be carcinogens in that fertilizer factory. City officials insist fairness will prevail, but they see a difference between possible and probable cause. The case might set precedent that could ultimately cost Fort Lauderdale millions. And while Herbie Blabin is in and out of the hospital, the investigation drags on.
It's almost like they're dragging me through the coals.
It's all much too complicated for a man who's always viewed the world very simply.
Half my life I spent at the firehouse.
The hall was full the day Herbie Blabin retired.
It was definitely the best 27 years of my life.
Full of people who are certain the Everglades fire was the worst killer in the history of this city. In Fort Lauderdale, Reed Galen for Eye on America.
And that's our news. Coming up tomorrow on CBS